My people, welcome back to Eken Reacts. I'm back with another trending topic in Nigeria. Wetin really dey happen for this our country, Nigeria? How chief of staff go get 20 billion naira to run im office, but then give vice president office only 3 million naira? Senate don raise this matter and e don cause big wahala. For this video, you go see everything you need to know: the budget, the rules of the two office, and why the money gap big like this. Abi misplaced priority, oversight, or something wey dem no wan make we sabi. My people, no miss this one o. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you turn on the notification bell so that you no go miss any of our updates. So let's dive into the video.
Show of staff to the president, 20 million appropriated, 20 billion appropriated, 20 billion release. You go to chief security officer, you see 112 million, 25%, 25 million release out of 112 million. Now, all those, we need an explanation as what they are. But what is cardinal, why I read this question is, why is the office of the chief of staff carries 20 billion and the office of the president has less than 1 billion, 799 million, and then the office of the vice president has 753 million? You see the number of releases. The president has about 62 to 63% release, but the office of the vice president, 33 million, that's less than 18%. And the office of the chief of staff, 33 million. Less than 5%. Less than 5%. Less than 5%. So why are these discrepancies? That's one, just jot it. And then you go to the next page, purchase of motor vehicles. Just jot it. Perhaps have you seen purchase of motor vehicle? Open the page. Purchase of motor vehicles, of State House operational vehicles. Appropriation was 4 billion. Releases was 3.9 billion. Replacement of SWAV SUV vehicles. You have appropriated 2 billion, released 2 billion. Now, these operational vehicles, here when you come, because we have not been to oversight, what kind of vehicles are we talking about? And how many of them have you purchased? What's the model? And then you talked also about the replacement of SUV vehicles, which you have appropriated 2 billion and released 2 billion. What is replacement? What is replacement? And how many of them have you replaced? I'm sure I will allow you.
Amino.
Well, first of all, I guess I want to first of all take you back to that table. The first table the civil secretary Abdul Lingi has spoken about. I want to tell you that whoever prepared this table, prepared it to deceive us. To deceive people. It's completely for a deceit. That's what I mean. You can't release less than 5% and tell us you have 100% utilization. That's deceit. I'm an accountant. You can't prepare this. This is not the report. You release less than 5% and you told us that 100% utilization. In budget performance, 100% utilization. Look at it very well. I don't know who prepared it. I don't know who prepared this. Who prepared it? Is it an accountant that prepared it? If it's an accountant, if he's an underbridge accountant, I will tell him to revoke his license. You can't put this to us. You give somebody less than 5%. Then we are coming here and now saying you have utilized 100% of 33 million. 33 million, you are giving office of vice president. Even office of president, you are giving 400 something million less than, it's about 50 something percent or 50 something percent, and you are saying 100% release. If somebody look at it and you take the office of the chief of staff with 20 billion release and 14 billion utilization, I now say 75% utilization. Is it not deceitful? 75% utilization. Somebody will feel, okay, vice president have given 100%, president have given 100%, but this one is just 75%. But when you go into the detail, it's not telling us the right thing. I think next time you need to prepare this budget properly so that nobody will be deceived. People that are not account, I was just telling Abdul Lingi, you say 80%. I said no. 33 billion is less than 33 million is less than 5%, because 10% is 75 million of 700 something million, isn't it? So it's less than 5%. Nobody will see this and take us to be serious people. And when it comes to operational vehicles, you say operational vehicles, yes. You now say SUV. What is operational vehicle? What is SUV? We want to know the type of the vehicles that are operational that are not SUVs. And then what are the SUVs which are replaced according to what Abdul has asked. But you cannot tell Nigerians we have operational vehicles in presidency that does not include SUV. It's a lie. You have operational vehicles different, you have SUVs different. So why are you deceiving? We should clearly state things the way they are so that we will be able to interpret them the way they are. Period. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My respected colleague.
Go ahead and answer this question.
I think I'll start from the last question. Apologies.
Answer.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. The rate of releases to the office of the Vice President, which is far below expectation compared to all other offices within the 7 headings here that you have enumerated. And by utilization, percentage utilization, to me, I think you mean utilization of what was released. Okay, go ahead. So you can explain why there is such a disparity.
So that's exactly where I went.
Pointed the arrow to something. My question is now, is it a deliberate attempt to underfund the office of the Vice President, or is by coincidence? That's my question.
Yes, fact that what the person that prepared the table captured was performance over releases, and I did circulate an extra document while I was presenting, which clearly stated the performance over the budget. So which states it exactly as it is, and I apologize for that mistake in the document that was earlier submitted. So that's on the one hand. And then secondly, the issue of type of vehicles, SUV, operational vehicles, again, nobody's trying to deceive anybody. That's exactly how it was captured in the 2024 budget. And when we're showing the performance, we must capture it the way they wrote it. Unfortunately, as Senator Ningi observed, we apologize for that. The document is not well paged, so I could have shown you there. But if you go towards the back, the 2024, a copy of 2024 appropriation is included here, and it is captured exactly like that. Operational vehicles, SUV, and all of that. So we have to respond according to how it was captured in the budget. Now, again, I don't know how the budget was finalized in 2024, but you will see that the item, I stated that there are 7 cost centers. But when they prepared it last year, or in 2023, and it was passed, the item 20 billion captured in the office of the Chief of Staff is erroneous, okay, for anybody who doesn't dig deeper, and that is what is causing this misconception. Because when I go into the details, which is also here, you will see that many of the items that have been implemented in that high percentage performance, an example is renovation of Vice President quarters in Lagos, 5 billion. It's captured as part of that 20 billion in the office of the Chief of Staff. Yes. Sorry, sir. Sir? Sorry, sir. Maybe. Yes, that's what I apologize for. I'm really sorry for that, but it's yes. Yes, sir. Chief of Staff, yes, sir. And the breakdown is there. So they are not. The budget is not for the Chief of Staff, but unfortunately, that's how it was captured as that cost center. And it includes rehabilitation of the liaison of the Dam Barracks in Lagos. It's part of the items in there, which has been fully utilized. And the investment and staff quarters, as I stated earlier, and other items. So there is no deliberate attempt to underfund any of the cost centers. And when we talk about the operational vehicles and all of that, they are not meant for. So what I think should have happened is the State House headquarters is where all of those should have been, because the headquarters, which is actually the administrative part of the State House, takes care of all the offices. But for whatever reason, that lump sum was captured under the Chief of Staff. And I dare say that in my meeting with him, a couple of days ago, telling him I'm coming to, he said, please, I don't want this headache again. Make sure you correct that. Because he did point to me that even last year when the budget was published, he had a lot of headache having to be justifying why is there 20 billion on the office of the Chief of Staff, which is erroneous. So it's an opportunity for us to also say that, so that he doesn't want the same mistake again. And hopefully we won't have this kind of misconception to think it is this way or that. And then there were, on the issue of bottom-up releases, the State House is not exempt. It's part of the issues we are also contending with. Because once you are all part of the GIFMI system, for now everybody is stuck with that system. We have complained, and other ministries have complained. It's still being looked at. We hope it to be reviewed, because it does affect the operation really of the State House. Why it seems also that some of the performance is also more than the other is the items that are captured. So I give an example. When you have issue of the renovation and maintenance of the State House facilities, okay, General Berger, whatever, they just keep doing the work because it is in the budget. They know they'll get paid, so they keep doing the work. And when we record it, whenever the bills come, we push it into the system. Sometimes the money is paid and we just update our records, because it is a system that everybody knows must not fail. Okay, so and hopefully we have formidable contractors that have been doing the work for a long time, so they are able to do it. But other areas that involve, actual procurement and bringing new people, those are the areas you will see are still lagging behind, also because of the same system that affects everybody. So
but you have releases without the work being completed. It's not so in the other ministries. Nobody gets anything. The money is paid to the State House directly. In some ministries, no.
So let me explain, sir, if I may. So the bottom-up approach, okay, really, I know the challenge is that it's not a new system, but this time around they went even further than how it was, in 2022, 2023. And it took a lot of MDAs, time to understand what needs to be done. Really, what needs to be done is for everybody to front-load their proposed expenditure into the system to prepare the Ministry of Finance and the Office of Accountant General on the payments they will need to make in future. So when you upload it, they make the provision there. You can see it on your system that the money is there. So that's what we mean by release. Not that it has been kept in an account somewhere. So when you put it, they make it available, and when your bills start coming and the vouchers are done, you just push it in and then they pay. So this is what it is. So no money is released to our account. It is all in the system. No, sir, 1 second, sir. Okay, I think I have, and then, but also the preliminary of Senator Nengi, again, I did apologize at the beginning of the session on the lack of interaction, and we do hope that this new year will make a huge difference, sir. We apologize. Thank you, sir.
I was just been told by the chairman. Fortunately, but you could see one of the problems that you have met as their predecessor has created an impression. Nobody knows except maybe the chairman that his organization, the State House, is untouchable. It's not true. If you are going to take this submission, if it is him that presented the submission, we move that it should be dropped. We dropped it and then asked the Minister of Finance and and the Minister of Budget to appear, because some of the submission is actually totally inappropriate. I won't visit his sin on your head, but all we are trying to do is please make amends. Just like the page we saw on the Chair of Staff page. Look at what he said. Renovation under President, Vice President, 5 billion release. Under expenditure as at 7th January, look at it, 3 billion 121 million 689. What is the annexure? What is the nexus of what you said, and then the expenditure, and then 64%? Now here you also said release 100%. So some of these things need some careful perusal by the heads, particularly the directors. As we appear before the Senate committee, don't assume that politicians don't have time to do, especially interesting issues like this that are arising. Pamsek, I know you for a long time. I don't want to. I pity you because a lot of Chairman, over to you.
Thank you, sir.
Senator Ningi has said. I'm happy he said he knows you for a very long time. I do too know you, and you have worked with us in the National Assembly very closely, and you have respected the National Assembly in all ramifications. I believe with your higher position now, which I want to use this opportunity to congratulate you, you will bring that to bear on this committee. I pray you will bring that to bear on this committee, because the relationship between the two bodies have not been very cordial. With you knowing the two sides now very well, you can bring that to bear so that there will be a good working relationship. I've known you to be an open and forward-looking person. I believe you will bring that experience to bear. The only thing that I want to say is that you. So the only thing that you've not been able to explain is why there seemed to be a shortfall in the in the releases to the office of the Vice President.
Again, I want to ask if there's anything. It has been, historical everywhere. There's always extra effort to utilize the overhead, because the overhead will lapse at the end of the year. Well, for instance, if you look at the place where you have 3,900 naira remaining, what are we going to do with that? It's difficult. In fact, it is when we make it 100%, that's when you should make this accusation that because it cannot be, sincerely, it cannot all be 100%. If you see anywhere they write 100% across board, then there's a problem. Because it's people making claims, we're paying for something, and then they keep deducting until you get to a point where there's nothing to allocate anymore. And then you cannot touch the balances, they remain there. So this is the exact figure. If there was a larger column, then they won't be exact. It would be 99.997 or whatever, but Yes, sir.
Thank you. Your Excellency, sir, introduce yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Pamsek, you've heard from distinguished colleagues. Let me also that we commend your effort, having assumed office just last week. I only met with you this afternoon, but I am very much familiar with you in other committees, particularly in public account when you were Pamsek Agric. Senator Nungi has summed it up all. That you are new, we cannot visit the scene of your predecessor on you. The relationship between this committee and the State House is very important. We have tried our best as legislators to give the best of cooperation to the State House. Rightly or wrongly, that was not reciprocated by your predecessor. So I hope you will now go back to the drawing board so that we can have a new beginning going forward. Some of the presentation here, we just don't want to raise questions. Similar thing happened last year, December, during the 2024 budget defense. Some of your directors were there. But then, two wrongs do not make a right. Going forward, clean up these records. Let us know in good time where you want this committee to support you. And the committee would also carry out our oversight as at when due. Last year we proposed oversight 2 or 3 times. One reason, one excuse or the other was proffered. There is ESCO meeting today, I will not be around. There are visitors today, this and that. That will not longer be tolerated henceforth. Because if, as members of this committee and members of the National Assembly by extension, we are found wanting in oversighting the State House, other agencies would also follow suit. Or if we exempt the State House from oversight responsibility, we would not have justification oversighting other agencies. Equality before the law is sacrosanct, and we have to implement just that. So please, you are a new person, will not overburden this. On this note, I will invite you to proceed and defend your 2025 budget.
Thank you, distinguished chairman and distinguished member of the comments, the reprimands, and the advice, and we are fully taking them on board. We want to assure you, sir, that going forward, it's going to be a proper symbiotic relationship as it ought to be. That's what we promise. Thank you, sir. And again, I cannot apologize enough for the lack of pagination of this. I mean, it's not the best. Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, sir, distinguished members of the committee, the 2025 proposed budget is aimed mostly in the capital to complete a number of the ongoing projects, and where possible to accommodate new projects that have resulted from pressing and demand necessities of the State House, and in order to ensure that we continue to provide improved and efficient service delivery. In preparing the 2025 budget, as usual, a ceiling, an envelope was provided to the State House management, and the submission, that has been made is according to that. Whereas in the course of the year of implementing the 2024 budget, there were some issues that were observed. There were some areas that both the President and His Excellency the Vice President wanted new things to be done, which the management had captured earlier, but be that as it may, the budget submission had to fit into the provided envelope. The State House was provided with 62,176,811,714 naira, of which the personnel cost is 3,497,320,200 naira. Out of this total sum, the sum of 36.9 billion roughly is for capital projects, while 21 billion 698,278,348 is for overhead expenditure for the year. It is imperative to point out that this sum is substantially lower than what was available in the 2024 budget. 2024 budget was 76 billion. So it is less by 13.9 billion, which is 18.3% reduced. The breakdown is in table 3 that follows. And the personnel cost, obviously, we have juxtaposed in the table the 2024 budget along with the budget proposal for 2025. And you will see the various aspects where there are increases and where there are decreases. Mostly the personnel cost, obviously, because of the improved minimum wage, So the personnel costs obviously went up to accommodate the changes in the salary that was approved in the course of the year. Most of the other activities, actually, we noticed that there's a reduction. And I fear that this may, inadvertently affect the operations of the State House. Be that as it may, you would also notice that the area in the capital section, that office of the Chief of Staff to the President, the whole 20 billion is gone. So you have just 530 million there. But the unfortunate aspect is that money ought to have been placed, in the State House headquarters, which is actually the place, but it is just removed altogether. So we foresee that that is going to give us challenges, down the line. We also have the State House Medical Center, which a lot has been invested in the past to bring it up to scratch, and we have actually a new wing which has been fully equipped with a lot of state-of-the-art equipment. And what is supposed to be next is for it to become fully operational. But this budget, as it currently is, with a reduction, is going to make that a bit difficult. I sat with the Chief Medical Administrator there, and some of the challenges they're having is with the relevant people to man it, because they are state-of-the-art equipment that people are looking for, and it is available there, and it can really solve a lot of problem for many people. We're hoping that this year we will operationalize the place, but this reduction will make that also difficult. We also have a huge reduction in the State House Lagos Liaison Office. Okay, this is a place where in the last year's budget, a huge amount of money has been put in to revitalize the place and bring it back up to become operational, to be able to take care of His Excellency the President and the Vice President when they go to Lagos. But we've also seen almost 50% reduction in the provision there. Mr. Chairman, distinguished senators, please permit me to shed light on some of other areas where there are major expenditures in the State House. Of course, the routine maintenance to keep the State House, the villa, pristine and clean the way they are, is not exempt from the increase in items that we have, envisaged all across the country. So, while I explained earlier that the contractors will continue to work based on the contract given to cover all the areas they're supposed to cover, it is exigent on us to ensure that we're able to pay for these services as time goes on. We cannot just keep carrying, the liabilities across. Some of the areas, include electrical and mechanical installations, buildings, civil infrastructure. Luckily, in the part of that last year's budget, a lot was done to invest in solar, installation to take care of the power. But because we've observed in the course of the year that some of the places, even including the VP's residents, challenges with the power because of old systems. We're also wary that the generator systems that are there, we have 4 huge generators, but they've been there since the place was built, and none of it has ever been replaced. The idea is hopefully to begin to change them, one by one, so that we never get to a point where we have lack of power, either in the offices or in the residences. But we believe that the huge amount that was expended on solar in the course of this 2024 will be able to mitigate, but obviously it cannot be the mainstay of these places. We also have about 65 to 75% of total operation of State House, which takes care of all of these regular places: the banquet hall, the council chamber, the conference center. There's a new administrative block that's housing the civil servants, and of course the airport lounges where we receive international visitors that come to the country. Now, spoke about vehicles earlier in the course of 2024. There's also what we call conference coordinating unit vehicles. Okay, these are some of the vehicles, conference coordinating unit vehicles. So every time we see, Mr. President hosting ECOWAS meetings, visiting president, and so on and so forth, there are high caliber of vehicles that they can use. So there have been vehicles there, and that is why it is unfortunate. Sincerely, we will be welcoming you. In fact, we will be inviting you, sir, for this oversight visit, because then you will see by yourselves. A number of these vehicles are there, sir.
Are they treated vehicles?
Some are, but the point is that they have been there forever. When they were bought, of course, they were pristine, they look nice and everything, but they're just sitting there. Many cannot be used anymore. In fact, the ones that are being used now is thankful to the fact that in the course of last year, a lot of money was invested in the workshop in the State House, so that the people there are able to keep, rejigging and making them as useful as possible. But we have a time when 8, 10, heads of state visit the country. it can sometimes be, retrieving vehicles from some people to be able to, because you're not just assigning one vehicle to them. You have about 3, 4, because they are presidents and so on and so forth. So these are the areas that still need to be fixed. State House Medical Center, Presidential Wing, I spoke to that earlier. A lot has been done, and it would be a shame to just have the place sitting there and not being operationalized. And we're even looking at a situation where it is even opened up to other Nigerians to come and benefit. Right now, some people actually do benefit. Some people, I don't know whether I said they are smart or they were forward thinking, registered the NHIS, and in the NHIS selected the State House Clinic as their primary, so they are attended to in that place, and they don't pay anything and they benefit from this setup. But we think this can, if fully operationalized, can open up to even more Nigerians to benefit from this huge investment that this National Assembly, appropriated to make the place what it is today. So on that note, I want to say that on behalf of our team here, we apologize for the non-pagination and any other lapses, and to indeed implore you to look upon our presentation kindly. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Pamsek, for the eloquent and brief presentation. Anyone with questions, comments? Yes, Distinguished Senator Onao.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, colleagues. Visit to the medical center, the State House Medical Center, because it's been in the works for a while. Lots of money has been expended. Even during the 2024 budget, because of what was done in 2023 and what was proposed for 2024, we insisted that we want to go and see what was put there that warranted that much amount. But with what has happened as at now, we will we'll be looking forward to your inviting us to go and see what's there. The other thing is,
What time are we looking at?
I see that in 2025, there is over 100% increase in the office of the Chief Security Officer to the President. While that of the President is reduced, that of the Vice President is reduced, and many others are reduced. That of the Chief Security Officer is increased by over 100%. What's responsible? Are you envisaging any problem?
Thank you, sir, for the observation. Well, certainly not. It's just that it's a small amount to start. Oh, okay.
Not
Sorry.
it.
I recall I just assumed. I wanted to find out the real situation and the condition and the habitability of the Dodam barracks and the office of the Vice President. I mean, is the quarters of the Vice President in Lagos. How habitable is the office? Because I was thinking when the President was going for a new year, he wouldn't go to his personal residence, he would go to Dodam barracks. So I was actually taken aback whether or not the place is still good enough for the President and the Vice President. I also noticed when the Vice President visits Lagos, he also doesn't go to Dodam barracks to stay. So what's the condition? Will you say you are satisfied that the President can use it and the Vice President can use it?
The staff strength of the State House. And then throughout the length and breadth of your presentation, you did not mention anything about staff welfare. Is it an oversight, or that the staffs in the State House are not entitled to any welfare package?
We appreciate that, sir. Yes, the State House Clinic, yes, certainly will be, I think that will be the first port of call, because like I said, we want you to see it. It's a lot is there, but there needs to be improvement provision for this year so that we can operationalize it. That's really what is required now. And like I said, with the right approvals, it can even be opened up to more people to come and benefit from some of there's some equipment there that maybe there's only one in Abuja. I don't want to start advertising on that place, and they are in that place and can benefit people, can save lives. Yes, sir. The increase in the cost of the CSO's office, like I said, there's nothing to it. The amount there before was not a lot. So when you factor in the changes in the DTA, the changes in whatever, because these are people that normally go ahead to scouts in some places, so it's really not a lot. And I'm not sure that they're still going to come and complain that it's not enough, but we have to manage whatever we get there. So yes, it's 100% increase, but it's because in the first place it wasn't much what was provided there. As per the Lagos offices, yes, the Office of His Excellency, the residence is actually different from the Dam Barracks. This place is in Ikoyi. Yes, and it's completed and it is in good state. And the last time the people actually hosted and received people there, he didn't sleep there because some aspect of the furnishing were being finalized. But he spent the day there hosting people and all of that. And I'm sure that even now all that has been completed. The only work that is going on in that place now is what we call the phase 2, and it is because it's on the water side. So we felt that there was a need for shoreline protection, to ensure the shoreline is protected, and all these bearings have been put in place. So that is ongoing, but the residence itself is in tip-top shape for His Excellency the Vice President. For the Dodam Barracks, the work there is a bit more elaborate. It's also ongoing, because the work there is almost like, it's not just the resident or office of the president, it also includes a whole cluster of places for officers, guest house, and so on and so forth. So they've done, the facade and whatever. So that is called the first place of making the place look good. So on the outside, if you get there now, it all looks nice. Okay. So they are embarking on the second phase, which will include interior finishings and then furnishing. That is also ongoing. So that is not in the same level of completion as the Vice President's place, but the work is continuing and it's ongoing there.
Do you think it will be done before half of this year?
Certainly. It will be.
Pamsek.
Yes, sir.
Note it. After the passage of the budget into law,
yes, sir,
this committee will visit Lagos.
No problems.
For us to inspect these facilities in Lagos.
Yes, sir.
And His Excellency.
1,147. Yes, sir. And some of these also includes not people that are not full staff. There's a bit of contract staff, artisans that do a lot of gardening and all of that. And the welfare is actually taken care of. It's captured in the overhead part as expected. And I dare say that the staff are also lucky in the sense that we have a mother in the First Lady who willingly just takes care of them. In fact, this Christmas, I think there's been gifts upon gifts upon gifts, food items, yams, drinks, and all of that. So so she's sharing things as welfare, So we are concerned about that. The clinic is open to all the staff. The gym is open to all the staff. So we are serious about the welfare of the staff, sir. Thank you. No.
Testing, medicine, all this.
So those that are on NHIS don't end up paying for anything. Yes, but those that sometimes maybe some of the medications, but essentially it's not a money-making place. So that's why we're saying. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
My office just said on page 11 of mainly through subscriptions and use payment amount to really buy books and equipment.
That if you are budgeting, because of the budget, I'll increase 30% every year, even if I don't need the expense to expend it. You understand what I'm saying? Every year, if I spend this year 1,000 naira, if I budget next year, I will now say it's 1,200. The following year, I will say 1,400. That's the pound. Are we following also in the presidency that, look, we are going to do the same? Look, if you look at your performance in 2024, the releases and the performance and the expenditure of 6 billion that is not spent. Okay. Isn't it?
Yes.
If you are budgeting next year, you don't need to budget 22 billion, 25 billion again.
But we didn't, sir.
You did.
I pointed out that even that chief of staff place, the whole 20 billion was removed and it's 500 million that is there. There's no 20 billion there anymore for this year.
You are not getting
and
this.
Again, if I may, sir, the budget. So when you say spent, I think you are talking about the money that we have paid. We will not capture money that we haven't paid. But it doesn't mean the money is unspent. It's already spent because contract has been given. I just tried to explain now.
At what level do you capture expenditure?
When we pay the contractor.
At what level do you capture amount release?
Amount release is when we upload into the system to say we will need to pay such and such an amount, and we get indication that the money has been provided for us.
So you can now upload for release without expending? Is that what you're saying? You now upload without expending.
It depends
You only
what you mean
upload
by
after you
expending.
give the contractor, after you before you upload the budget.
That's committed funds.
This is what you're
sir.
talking about.
No, no. Committed funds is different from expended funds, sir.
You see, this other one.
Pomsek, another thing is this.
Yes, sir.
The Tinubu-led administration is all about transparency. I want Nigerians to know whether the State House operate the envelope system like other agencies.
Yes, so which is why even in my introductory letter, I mentioned that the envelope we were given is way below all the things we have captured that we would like to do. And we're also, encumbered by the same bottom-up cash management system.
You know why we are asking you this question? We want Nigerians to know that the State House also operate the same budget system with other MDS. And the National Assembly is also empowered by law to check the excesses of MDS, which the State House is also part of it. So that's why we are now drilling you, and you are giving us useful information for Nigerians to be aware that it is not business as usual. We also check ourselves, we check the State House. There is these checks and balances between the executive and legislative arm of government. So, another thing we want is this. You have ongoing projects. Some of these projects were initiated 3 years back, 4 years back, and there is carry forward or carry over, whatever terminology you use. So we want you to go back and prepare a brief of all the capital projects under State House that is ongoing, and then the level of completion and or performance in using the budget balance, and submit it to the Secretariat so that we can save time. And when we now get to Lagos, in the first place, to look at things for ourselves, we are very much conversant with what we are going to see. And then we'll come back to see your clinic and other things. We are going to have a very good fraternity. We are very friendly on this side. We are not hostile. So be rest assured that that will be done. Then you also have zoo in the villa. You didn't say anything about the zoo. In the night, you hear lion crying. So what happened? Is the lion hungry or what? What causes the cry of that lion?
Thankfully, again, I alluded to it earlier on, we are all part of the inflationary trend. The canines, the dogs that are, the sniffer dogs and all of this. Just yesterday, I got a brief from the veterinary doctors to say the average price, of the bag of food has gone up. And we need to account for that. And the same thing goes for all these places. So this is why, routinely things will go up. But it's not like we just willy-nilly wake up and just increase it. That is not the case. The animals are being well taken care of. We have qualified personnel in charge, and they are well sequestered. They are well taken care of, sir. Thank you.
What you are now going to do, areas where you want the committee's intervention, so that we bring the meeting to an end.
Again, I alluded, I think the most critical one is the medical center. Like I said, a lot has been invested in there. We need to, get it to be fully, it's operational, but we need it to be fully operational. The provision that is there in what we have now will not make that happen. I also mentioned the CCU, the conference car unit, where we have a huge range of vehicles, some treated, some not so treated, which at the time they were all acquired. They were starting supposed to act, to take care of the high level of visitors. The vehicles are all there. They have been listed for boarding. Some have been there for 20 years, 25 years, but they are all still there to be seen. It will be useful to begin to gradually, replenish that. We also have an area where His Excellency, Mr. President, has some SSAPs, who are overseeing different geopolitical zones. They are young SSAPs that are supposed to go out there and report back to Mr. President on the impact of palliatives, interventions, and so on and so forth. Because we have many cases where Mr. President, gives out interventions and it doesn't get to where it's supposed to get to. I mean, I was in agriculture. I know there were tons of those that were done. And depending on the peculiarity of one state or the other, we don't get the feedback. But so on getting here, I know that Mr. President made an approval, some SSAPs to strategically go all the way down. There's no adequate provision that has been made for that activity, and we believe it's something that will be very useful for the citizenry to have an impact of what the presidency is doing. We also have the issue of the aides, there's an office, being put in place for all presidential aides. Right now, the situation where some are in the secretariat, some are in, they're all over the place. So it was in last year's budget. As part of this 20 billion in Office of Chief of Staff, the building is, is ongoing. We'll be grateful if, provision is made so that can be completed, and everybody can be, in the same place, and, the work can be driven efficiently. So these are the critical areas. And of course,
you want your budget to be enhanced. Right?
Thank you, sir.
No, it didn't come out from your mouth. It's coming out from here. So,
I don't want to fall into the trap of distinguished.
No. So you want the budget to be enhanced for you to effectively cater for all the things you are bringing forward. All right. Well, we don't have the powers to increase your budget, but then we have the powers to recommend and make a case for the State House and other MDS under the jurisdiction of this committee. Be rest assured that we have noted all your concerns, and then we are going to make a heavy weather out of this to recommend to the appropriate committee and the leadership of the Senate. God willing, it will come to fruition. So we wish you well on this note. Let me, on behalf of all the distinguished senators that are here, thank you most sincerely for coming for this budget defense. We wish you well. By this, on this note, this meeting is hereby called to order and is adjourned to tomorrow, 15th day of January 2025 at 2 p.m. in meeting room number what? 211. So you are discharged but not acquitted. So we need our brief on things and make it in the recommendation. Immediately the brief we give us.